Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Before we begin, I just want to thank everyone who's watched my videos, commented, liked. All your support means a lot to me, so thank you so much. And today I wanted to start a video series on my channel called Step by Step, where I'm going to guide you step by step on how to make your own crochet backpack. I uploaded a shorts video a couple months ago of me making a crochet backpack, and there were a couple comments on there asking for a tutorial on certain parts of the pattern, so I'm deciding to just do a tutorial for the whole thing. This is great if you're a beginner or even if you're an advanced crocheter and you've just always wanted to make your own backpack and the pattern is a little bit confusing to go through by yourself. So here I am, your crochet buddy, helping you through it. By the end of this video series, you'll have your own beautiful handmade backpack that looks like this, straps and all. And also, as an additional tutorial, I'm going to teach you how to add a lining to the inside of the backpack. So grab your crochet hooks and your supplies and let's begin. Here are the supplies that you need for this project. You will need one skein of Red Heart Granny Square yarn in whatever colorway you choose, and one skein of Red Heart Super Saver yarn in a matching accent color. You will need a 4mm hook and a 5.5mm hook. When I initially made this backpack, I did not have a 5.5mm hook and I substituted it for a 5mm hook. So if you only have a 4mm hook and a 5mm hook, that will do just fine for the purposes of this project. You will also need some stitch markers, some straight pins, a yarn needle, and a pair of scissors. And those are all the supplies you should need for the purposes of crocheting and assembling the bag together. For this project, we will be using a free pattern from Yarnspirations. So you want to head over to the Yarnspirations website and type in crochet pack-a-bunch backpack, and the pattern should pop up. They have different suggestions in terms of colorways that you can use to make this project, but it's totally up to you what colors you use. And so it doesn't matter which colors you choose, it all leads to the same pattern. So click on free download and a PDF version of the pattern should pop up on your computer or on your phone. And for future reference, as we do this pattern together, I definitely recommend that you download it to your computer or your phone. Alright, before we get started, I want to go over the basic things and stitches that you need to know how to do so that you can complete this project. So you're going to have to know how to chain, to single crochet, double crochet, half double crochet, and slip stitch. And these are very easy and very basic things to do. So we can practice those together before we start with the granny square. To make a slip knot on my hook, I like to do this where I wrap yarn over the hook like this to kind of make a loop and then pull the rest of the yarn through and tighten it. And that is how I make my starting knot on my hook. There are many ways to do it, but this is the easiest way for me. To chain, you want to hold the tail between your thumb and your middle finger and hold the rest of the yarn around your index finger like this. So your hands and the hook should be positioned like this. And to chain, you want to yarn your hook underneath the yarn and pull through. And you just made one chain. So yarn under the yarn and pull through. There's your second chain. So that is exactly how you chain when you're crocheting. And this is very important to know because many patterns will have you start off with the chain before you actually go into your stitches. Okay, so we have a small little chain to practice the stitches on. So we'll start off with the single crochet. So again, you want to hold the chain between your thumb and your middle finger and have the rest of the free yarn wrapped around your index finger like this. So to do a single crochet, you want to take your hook and place it through a chain. So you should have 2 loops on your hook. Pull through 1 loop. So you should have 2 loops on your hook again, and then pull through both loops. Oops. And then pull through both loops, and that is a single crochet. So make sure you always have a loop on your hook when starting out. So you put your hook through the chain, pull the yarn through. There should be 2 loops on your hook, and then pull the yarn through both loops, and that is a single crochet. For a double crochet, you want to yarn over, then put your hook through the chain, pull some yarn through, so you should have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2, and that is the double crochet. So yarn over, put it through a chain, pull the yarn through. There should be 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and that is the double crochet. And the last one, the last stitch that we're going to use is the half double crochet. So it's pretty similar to the double crochet, but there's just one less step that you have to do. So for the half double crochet, you want to yarn over, put it through a chain, pull yarn through. There should be 3 loops on your hook, but instead of pulling the yarn through 2 and pulling the yarn through 2, for the half double crochet, you just want to pull the yarn through all 3 loops. That is the half double crochet. So yarn over, put it through your chain or your loop, pull through. You should have 3 loops on your hook, and then pull the yarn all the way through. And those are the basic stitches that we need to know for this project. So we have the single crochet, we have the double crochet, and we also have the half double crochet. And the last thing that I'm going to show you how to do is slip stitch. So slip stitch is very easy. You just want to put your hook through the chain or the loop. You yarn over and you just pull through both loops like that so that it's connected. And that is how you do all the basic stitches for this project. I really hope that was clear and concise, and now we can move on to actually starting the granny square. So although this project does call for a 5.5 millimeter hook, I am going to use the 5 as I did before. So if you only have a 5 millimeter, this will work perfectly for the purposes of this project. So let's begin. With larger hook and color 1, chain 4. So that is 4, and join with the slip stitch to the first chain to form a ring. And here is our first ring, and we will be putting all the additional stitches for the first round right into the center. If if you can see where my nail is right here, we will be working all the additional stitches into the center of this ring. So let's begin round 1. To begin round 1, you want to chain 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Then we are going to do 3 double crochets and chain 3 times in the ring. So this is the first double crochet, the second double crochet, and the third. And then we are going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. And we are going to repeat that sequence 2 more times. And after doing the last chain 3, we're going to add 2 more double crochets right into the center of this ring. 1 double crochet and 2 double crochet. And to end off this round, we are going to join with a slip stitch in the chain 3 space, which is right here, right before you hit this corner. And to slip stitch, remember you just want to bring the yarn right through both loops. And so the first round should look something similar to this, where you should have 4 spaces, 1, 2, 3, 4, and in between the 4 spaces there should be 3 double crochet. The chain 6 that we do at the beginning of each round will count as a double crochet, so don't worry. It should be the chain 6 and then the 2 double crochets. Let's move on to the second round. To begin the second round, we are going to slip stitch in the chain 3 space. And next we will chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And now we will add 3 double crochet into the same chain 3 space. So we are going to start off by adding the 3 double crochet right into this space where my fingers are right here. After we add those 3 double crochets, we are going to chain 1. And now as we go on to this corner, we are going to add 3 double crochets, chain 3, and then add 3 more double crochets in this space. So 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, 3 double crochet, chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, and then 3 more double crochets into this same space. After we complete this sequence for the corner, we are going to chain 1, and then we're going to repeat the same sequence for all the remaining corners. And throughout this pattern for the granny squares, all the corners are going to have the same sequence of 3 double crochet, chain 3, and then another 3 double crochet. So let's move on to the next corner. Okay, we just finished this corner, and remember we always ended off with a chain 1, and now we have one last corner to go. And remember the sequence is 3 double crochet, chain 3, and then another 3 double crochet. Okay, so we just finished all 3 corners, and now we are going to add 2 double crochet into the first chain 3 space that we started with. So 1 double crochet and 2 double crochets. And now to end off this round, just as we did before, we are going to join with the slip stitch in the chain 3 space. And that is round number 2. Now let's move on to the third round. To begin the third round, we are going to slip stitch in the first chain 3 space. And then we are going to chain 6. And we will add 3 double crochet in the same chain 3 space right here. So 1 double crochet, two double crochet, and 3 double crochet. After placing 3 double crochet in the first chain 3 space, we are going to chain 1, and after we chain 1, we are going to add 3 double crochet in the next chain 1 space. And end off with a chain 1. So now we have reached our first corner, and the sequence is the same as what we've done before. 3 double crochet, chain 3, and 3 double crochet. And of course, after we finish this sequence, we will chain 1, and we will move on to this next chain 1 space. We are going to put 3 double crochet in the next chain 1 space as we've done before. Chain 1, and then we're about to hit our next corner. So 3 double crochet, chain 3, and another 3 double crochet. Chain 1, and we are going on to our next chain 1 space. And remember, we always put 3 double crochet in the chain 1 space. Chain 1, and we're going to finish our last corner. Now that we've finished our last corner in chain 1, we are going to add 3 double crochet in the last chain 1 space right here. In chain 1. And the final thing that we are going to do is add 2 double crochet right into the first chain 3 space that we started working out of. So 1 double crochet and 2. To end off this round, we are going to join with the slip stitch into the chain 3 space. And there you have it. Your granny square should be looking a little something like this. Beautiful, I bet, and it's all starting to come together. We only have 2 more rounds that we need to finish, so I'm so proud of you of getting this far ahead, and let's continue on. So now we are working on round 4. To begin this round, we are going to slip stitch in the first chain 3 space. And then we are going to chain 6. And we are going to put 3 double crochet in the first chain 3 space. Chain 1. After chaining 1, we are going to put 3 double crochet in each chain 1 space that follows after the first one. And once we get to the corner, we are going to repeat the same sequence that we've been doing for this whole pattern of 3 double crochet, chain 3, and 3 double crochet. So let's get to it. So let's continue to finish round 4 together. We have 2 chain 1 spaces up ahead, and of course we will put 3 double crochet in each of those spaces. And we'll do our corner sequence. And we will repeat. And we have our 2 final chain 1 spaces to go. And now we are going to add 2 double crochet into this first chain 3 space that we started working out of. So 1 double crochet and 2 double crochet. And then as usual, to finish off this round, we are going to slip stitch into the 3rd chain of the chain 6 that we did at the beginning of the round. And now that we have done that, let's move on to our 5th and final round of this granny square together. To begin the round, we are going to slip stitch in the chain 3 space. And then we are going to chain 6. And we are going to put our first 3 double crochet into this chain 3 space. and chain 1. And from here on out, the pattern is going to be the same as we did before. Just as a reminder, all of the chain 1 spaces in the middle will get 3 double crochets each, and before you move on to the next, you will chain 1. And all of the corners will always get 3 double crochet, chain 3, and another 3 double crochet into the same space. So I believe that you guys know the pattern by now, and I am going to finish this round, and I'm going to leave you to finish this 5th and final round on your own. You got this. I believe in you, and I will come back once I finish doing the last 3 double crochets in the last chain 1 space. Now this will be a special troubleshooting section of this video. Every time I try to complete the 5th and final round of the granny square using this yarn, it doesn't matter how many times I undo this round and try to crochet tighter, try to control my tension so that, I crochet with a tighter tension, I always seem to run out of yarn before I make it to the end. So this is where your accent color comes in handy. If you keep running out of yarn before you can complete your granny square, I'm going to show you how you can add in extra yarn so that you can finish your square. So I've made it to about here. I had 1 more chain 1 space to go and an additional 2 double crochets that I needed to put in this round so that we could finish. I have 1 more double crochet that I need to put in this chain 1 space, so I'm going to do that halfway. So yarn over, pull through 2, and instead of finishing it off, this is where you're going to add in your additional color. And in the future, if you ever wanted to change colors for a pattern, this is exactly how you would do it. So while you have your 2 loops on your hook, you want to add in your second color, just drape it over the hook. You can leave as long as a tail or as short as a tail as you want, as long as it's enough to sew in later. So 2 loops on the hook and the new color or the new yarn that you want to add, and you want to pull it through the 2 loops to finish off the double crochet. So before we move on and finish the granny square, I am going to cut off the original yarn that I was using, because now we are just going to be using the new yarn. So these are the tails from the original yarn and from the new yarn, and then this is the actual yarn that we're going to use to finish off this granny square. So as before, to finish off, we are going to do the last chain 1 space and do 3 double crochet. And as I'm crocheting, I am putting the hook underneath these 2 tails so that I am tucking them in and they won't be seen as much in the finished product. And of course, I'm going to sew in the tails afterwards, but as you can see, they kind of get tucked under this part and it's harder to see where the tails are, which is good. So after we do the last 3 double crochet, we are going to chain 1 and put 2 double crochet in the first chain 3 space that we started working out of. And as usual, we are going to slip stitch in the 3rd chain of the chain 6 that we did in the beginning. And to fasten off, we are going to pull the yarn through the loop that's already on the hook. We are going to cut the yarn as long or as short as you want it to be to have enough tail at the end to sew in. And we are going to pull the hook, pull the yarn through, and tighten it. And that is how you fasten off and finish off your granny square. So the final thing that I can show you how to do is how to sew in your tails. You should have the tail from the first round where we started. And if you ran out of yarn like I did, you'll have these extra tails you need to sew in, and then the tail from when we fastened off. So to sew in your tails, this is when your yarn needle will come in handy. This is what we need it for. And you will just thread the needle like how you would do with thread. And for this middle part, I like to just follow the circle that's back here and just go around a couple of times until there's no more yarn left. And remember, you only want to sew through the loops that are on the back side of this granny square. You don't want to sew through the front. We want everything to be hidden in the back. So like I said, it's up to you. You can sew this yarn in as much as you want, but I think I'm going to stop here. It should be locked in at this point, and then you just cut off the excess. Now for these other tails, I actually don't like that you can see the tails right here. So I'm just going to lift these up a little bit and start to sew them in. Well, actually, before I sew these in, I prefer to do a couple of knots just to make sure that everything is secure. Even if the tails come loose, they will be locked in from this knot, so nothing will come all the way loose. And sometimes when you try to thread the needle, the yarn will fray like this. And so the trick that I like to use is I'll put the yarn on top of the needle like this, and then I will use a straight pin, push the yarn through the needle, and thread it that way, such as this. So never be afraid of when the yarn frays. There's always a trick or a hack to get you through it. And for these tails, I like to sew in a back and forth motion. I find that it really helps the tails to lock in and not come loose. And again, you can sew back and forth as many times as you want to. 3 is enough for me because I'm going to be going over it with the longer tail. But ideally, I would suggest kind of sewing back and forth, maybe 4 or 5 times, just to make sure everything is really sound and secure. So I'm going to do the same thing with this tail. And cut the excess. And we will do the same thing for this last tail. And you did it! You've sewed in your tails and you made your first granny square. I am so proud of you of getting to this point in the tutorial. And now you have something to show for all your hard work. And remember guys, for this project, we need a total of 14 granny squares. So this is one down and 13 more to go. So I believe that you guys will get it done and lock in, and soon you will have a matching stack of granny squares that look just like this. I really had to sit down and lock in to make all of these squares myself, and I'm almost done. I've been trying to get this done so that I can start working on part 2 of this tutorial for you guys. So this is the end of part 1. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for doing this project with me. This is going to be so much fun, and like I said in the beginning, at the end of this project, you are going to have a beautiful crochet backpack that you can wear out and about. So thank you in advance for any likes, any shares, and any comments that you all may leave on this video. And until next time, stay healthy, stay happy, keep crocheting, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!